all of this power that the Pubky core protocol gives you, if you are a developer, the only tool that you need to tap into it is the Pubky SDK. So you or your AI only needs to learn about this specific package or crate to be able to build applications over this protocol that Gabriel just introduced. Then other part of the stack that maybe you want to understand, which is the Pubky home server, that's the infrastructure. You might be interested on that if you want to host home server, your own home server for other people. But as a developer of an application, this is the whole thing that you need to learn. So we have rebuilt refactored very heavily. What we had last year was called the Pubky client into a tool that's more comprehensive and easier to understand for both humans that want to make an application and also for the AI. AIs can one-shot anything Pubky related right now. So I'm gonna anyway explain to you kind of how it works. We have two versions for it. Same code base, but we have two first citizens languages. We have Rust native and JavaScript. There is a little bit of a few trade-offs between these two SDKs, but functionally they are pretty much the same, and their API surface is a mirror of each other. So like Gabriel said before, the pitch for Pubky is you own the identity, you hold the cryptographic key to your identity. You use it to point your data to your home server. Discovery happens on this P2P network and the DHT. And you don't need to open an account with a registrar. For example, you don't need to get a domain or any centralized solution. There's no gatekeepers. Even if you choose to store your data with a third-party home server that hosts for you, they cannot avoid that you leave and do, mirror your whole home server somewhere else. All of that you can manage with the Pubky SDK. Architecture is pretty simple. You will have your application. In your application, you're going to import the Pubky SDK, either in Rust, Crate, or JavaScript. And the Pubky SDK has several high-level actors, and they are very self-explanatory. We have a signer. The signer does anything related with your private key. For example, if you're making a Pubky application that is let's say a cold wallet or a key ring, we have one that's called Pubky ring. That's our implementation of a key ring. You can try to build your own. The only thing that you need probably is the signer. The signer can authenticate sessions. It can sign up to a new home server. It can publish a new Pkarr record pointing to where your home server is now in case you move home servers around. It's very, it's pretty much what you need for a signer. Then we have the session. This can act as a user. So every user will be a key session on the SDK, and it can just write to a home server, can read, it can perform all of the user actions. The storage part, the storage you can also use publicly. You don't need to have a session to access data as long as the data is public. And we can do events fetching. You can keep watching or listening to what other users are writing to their home servers. So you can build applications that are a little bit real time. And the Auth, this is all of the module that you could use with the signer to authenticating to web applications. Maybe you've seen the Pubky Auth with QR codes. If you use Pubky app or any of the other Pubky applications that there are out there, they use this Auth module. How to install? Pretty easy. Just cargo uninstall or npm install synonym. We're gonna go very quickly over the examples. You can just generate a new keeper or load a secret. Then you can instantiate the SDK and run a signer, and you can instantiate a new signer with the keeper. And if you want to have a valid session, all you need to do is sign up to a home server in case your user is not signed up, or you can even sign in case your user already has an account. Same thing, but in JavaScript, as you see, it's pretty much one-to-one. You can write authenticated data. Authenticated data you can only write if you have a user in a home server. The Pubky SDK does everything for you. This is pretty much a fetch request or put or get, but the Pubky SDK will figure out all of the Pkarr resolving, where is your home server, publish your Pkarr record, right? All of that will be handled for you seamlessly, and you don't need to understand what's going on. And again, you don't even need to understand this specific calls because the AI will do for you. It's very straightforward. You can do write authenticated, or you can read any Pubky data that is public, right? This is how we address data in Pubky. So we have a public key that's always prefixed by the Pubky name. So you understand this is the public key. Public directory, example.com application, and a profile JSON. So the auth flows are also extremely seamless for developers. Your application will generate a Pubky Auth request that you can show as a QR code. You can see you can create a Pubky Auth request asking permission to write or read into some specific directory of the user. You can show that as a QR code, and then you just wait for approval, and it will keep calling the HTTP relay, waiting back from the signer or the keyring application, waiting for it to either auth or reject, approve or reject that authing attempt. So as I just introduced before, every permission request that applications ask to write into the home server, they always scoped. So for example, this is a request to write into the example.com folder, read and write. The read is a little bit redundant. Everyone can read from the public directory, but for sure, only if you ask for write, you will be able to write into that folder. There's a capabilities builder. It's super well documented, very easy. It's just very syntax friendly for any Rust developer, but the same for JavaScript. Very easy to ask for permissions. And we can also fetch real-time events from other users. All you need to do is subscribe to the event stream. You can add the public key of the users you want to see their new events, what they are writing to their home servers. For example, let's say you are building a private messaging app. So you want to see whether your friends are writing new messages for you in their home server. So you can subscribe to those. And anytime there is a new event in their home server, your client will just tell you, hey, there's new data there for you. You just go and fetch it. We have one SDK that, I don't know if you guys can hear me. My microphone just changed. Works well? Okay.
Yeah, we can, yes.
Okay, perfect. So we have one SDK by 2 worlds. We have a Rust native SDK, like we said, and this is the most powerful way to use Pubky because we use Pubky TLS. That means it's end-to-end encrypted based on the root key of the home server. So you don't need a domain, you don't need a TLS, you don't need the typical web stuff. However, those don't work on the browser. So on the browser, you will use the browser fetch API, and your home server will only get reachable if it has a ICANN domain. That's the limitations of trying to make the whole stuff work inside of a browser as well. If you're using native Rust, you can look up records directly in the DHT, which is great for censorship resistance, 100% great. But from the browser environment, you don't have UDP port. I mean, you cannot use UDP, so therefore, we have what we call the Pkarr relays. There are a few of them, and they will look for the DNS packet in the DHT and relay to you. There's a few minor technical differences here, but these are the main ones. And of course, in Rust Native, the Pubky SDK manages the cookies and everything for you. But on the browser, we rely on the browser to manage cookies. That's at the moment. This will change. the core of the Pubky SDK, it's shared between cross-native and JavaScript. So that means there is a single implementation of all of the crypto stuff, and it runs everywhere. That means that the JavaScript package is a WASM package, but we've made it in a way that any JavaScript developer will not need to understand anything about WASM. It will just work like any other regular npm install packet that you've ever used. So what can you build on this? Of course, you can build social media apps. I mean, we have a flagship app that's a social media messaging app. You can do file sharing. You can upload anything to your own home server and then share a link to anyone to discover it. For example, you can discover these links using our Explorer, Pubky Explorer. You can find it's open source like everything else. And in summary, you can build any application where the user owns the data and chooses their server, basically any sovereign application. So thank you a lot. Give it a try. If you have any issues, just please open GitHub reports. We can try to help you either through Telegram, through Twitter. If you build anything on Pubky and you get stuck somewhere, just let us help you. And yeah, thanks a lot, guys.